Welcome to another St. Pete by Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the heart of night, we rise from shadows, howling at the moon, igniting our battles, cleansing Gaia of an endless fight, until our final days we will fight. Thanks, man, we stand united as one. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Everywhere we run, the wind is at our back. All the warring forces we will track. From the depths of the ocean to the clouds in the sky, vampires tremble as we learn to fight. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hands. Together we rise, take our final stand. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Everywhere with the pack, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide. Rock will never hide.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network, where we play St. Petersburg by Night, a massive multiplayer 5th edition World of Darkness chronicle set in the city of St. Petersburg, Florida. My name is Kent, also known as Kent. On all social media, I am the lead storyteller of St. Pete by Night. You can find St. Pete by Night on all of the social media listed down below. And if you're into the World of Darkness, which includes Vampire the Masquerade, Hunter the Reckoning, and Werewolf the Apocalypse, you can come join our amazing community by joining at the Discord link down below, where you could find yourself participating in one of our many one-shots. You might find yourself joining a table, or you could just find yourself hanging out with a pretty incredible community of over 200 awesome individuals who participate in all sorts of discussions and movie nights and other activities, game nights. It's just a really lovely community that you could be a part of. But it's Tuesday night, and you know what that means. It's time for Rage Across Tampa, our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle set in the city of Tampa, across the bay from St. Petersburg, where a pack of Garou are attempting to reclaim the city of Tampa and the territory of Florida as a whole from the Tampa Camarilla, who have ruled over the territory for over, well, a decade after driving out the Garou population and pretty much purging the entire state of Florida from the Garou for quite some time now. But these Garou have made their mark, have retaken a bit of territory, but at a great cost. And the costs seem to keep tallying up. And they've had to make their fair share of sacrifices, including last week, where we saw them make a great sacrifice to the spirit of Storm. The Storm spirit had been neglected in the past 10 years, as Eliza Ross, the Stargazer Theurge, fell into Hirano and stopped doing her obligation as the Rite Master of the area, intending to the storm season, in following the rites and rituals to appease the spirits of storm and wind and water, to fulfill the obligations to make sure that the storm season could go without issue, to make sure that the balance was upkept. So the storm demanded a sacrifice of the Guru, a sacrifice from the Weaver, to make sure that it could be appeased and that the balance could be returned, or else it would bring back a righteous fury after unleashing the forces of Helene and Milton upon the area. After much debate and discussion, Aspen and the pack decided to sacrifice their cairn, a cairn that they spent the majority of the past year working on building. The cairn being the memorial gardens under the watchful eye of Grandmother Willow, an elder wild spirit, their guardian spirit, who had been maintaining the cairn that once stood as the seat of the sept of the Weeping Willow, the last sept that watched over this area 10 years ago. The pack had to watch in horror as the storm spirit completely enveloped and destroyed the cairn from the Umbra. Not only destroying all that remains of the spiritual side, but destroying Grandmother Willow herself, ripping her from the roots that she had dug so deep within the Umbra, and destroying every last branch, stick, and root, leaving a barren wasteland on the umbral side. What kind of repercussions will this mean for the pack? What kind of issues will this cause in the long run? For it wasn't just the pack that was involved in this building, it was many members of the nation as a whole that had to come together to make this Herculean effort happen. Yet it was the decision of few that brought it all crumbling down in just a moment. On top of that, Jester, after having executed her ex-boyfriend Leon, who had become a thrall of the Tampa Camarilla, had retreated within herself emotionally so deep that the spirit of Ryder, who had been visiting her, took over, acting as sort of a shield spiritually for her, keeping her protected from Banes and taking a ride along in her mind and in her body over the past few weeks. Protecting her, sure, but also taking advantage of what it was to be alive again and enjoying the fruits of that effort, while also making his presence known to the members of the pack. While this may be fine in the short term, the pack feels the loss of Jester's presence and her voice, especially when the decision had to be made as to the sacrifice of the cairn. Now it comes time that she is really missed, and she must be returned. It takes time to heal, certainly, but when is it too much time? A galliard is necessary for a pack to be whole, because the galliards not just write the stories, not just tell the stories, they are a part of that story for that story to be told. For tonight's story, I couldn't tell it alone. We have to have a pretty amazing cast of characters to make that happen. And I have the honor of having the most amazing cast of characters to help me tell it. So, players, introduce yourselves, if you please.
Hey everybody, my name's Preston. I play Aiden Goodspeed, the Arun of the Gale Stalkers.
Hi, everybody. I'm Champ, Champagne, deadly and unpredictable little person, whatever you want to call me, and I'll be playing Aspen Wise, Philodox of the Silverfangs.
Hi everybody, I'm Nori, and I'll be playing Melissa's Jester, currently known as Jester, the Black Fury Galliard.
Everybody, I'm Walks, and I will be playing Lucas Shaw, the Ragabash of the Shadow Lords.
So, players, you heard that recap of everything that's happened so far. We're in a bit of a pickle, so to say, as you find yourselves without a home, at least spiritually, after this most recent sacrifice. And you find yourselves without a galliard, at least for the moment, in terms of spirit, as now you have an abundance of Aruns in the area, spiritually speaking, with Aiden, Charles, and the spirit of Ryder now all present in the area. Our story, however, begins tonight, the next day after the destruction of the cairn, after the storm took its sacrifice. Aiden, it is about, I would say, 3 a.m. Early in the morning. And it was a rough night to begin with when you are woken up by a phone call. Now, do you usually keep your phone on vibrate, or do you turn on the ringer when you go to sleep?
It used to sit on vibrate till a recent event and was given some good counsel by another Arun to always keep his phone on ring.
Okay. So, trying to sleep was hard at first. You found yourself kind of restless after everything that you witnessed, and after that aggravated willpower damage you took. It was really hard to find yourself falling asleep that night. But eventually, exhaustion overtook you and you did fall asleep, but it wasn't for very long before the ringer goes off on your phone. Rolling over, looking at the phone, you see that it is Terrance calling.
Reach out, couple deep breaths so he doesn't just yell at Terrance. Good morning.
Hey. Oh God. I'm glad you're okay. Are you all right? Is everything Aiden? Are you okay?
I'm good. It's early. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to call so early. I felt something. Are you sure everything's all right?
Uh, yeah. Sit up a little bit, rub his eyes. Yeah. What's going on? Tell me what you're feeling.
Well, I don't know. I've always, ever since I came down there last and we did the big ritual, I've always kind of felt tied to the place, and I've felt, I don't know, connected. And it was nice because I always, wanted to be there with you. I've always kind of been thinking about it, and the more and more I've come to understand it, the more and more I felt connected to it, like I could understand it. And something happened last night. I got a really sickly feeling, and then a really strong headache, and then I felt like I was dizzy, and then it just felt like it was gone. And I had to reach out to you. I had to make sure you were okay, that everybody was okay down there, because I've never felt anything like that before.
Uh, there's not an easy way to kind of tell you what you're feeling. So you know the big storm, the hurricane that rolled through, the two of them.
Yeah, we felt it all the way up here. Are you okay from that too? I should have checked in sooner.
Hey, it's okay. I should have called it. Overall, are you doing okay
Yeah,
since then?
no,
Okay.
I mean, we had some power outages. We dealt with our own fair share of things, but we know how to rough it up here. They're prepared for that kind of thing. But are you guys okay down there? You had a much harder time, especially with the second one, than we
Yeah,
did.
it hit really hard. Um, but it would have been a lot worse. So the first one that came through, we tried to talk to the spirit of that, the spirits overall of the storms, but Eliza, you remember Eliza?
Yeah,
You,
the old
the what
lady.
the lady?
She was nice enough, yeah.
Yeah. Um, she was the one that was communicating with the storms before she had her falling out. So that was roughly 10 years that the storms didn't have anyone to communicate with. So eventually that happened, and she was able to reach out to them. And that first one, she had to take a punishment in a sense for that 10 years of not communicating. Then the second one came through because they did not think that that was enough of the punishment that she was dealt. So we had to face the other one, and we had to actually fight the spirit of storms. When we finally got to a point where we could talk to it, the storm required a sacrifice, a big one, in order to not hit as hard as it wanted to, as a payment for the past few years. We, as a pack, took a while to try and figure out something that would be enough to make up for these past years and would be enough to pay a storm spirit. We decided that the Caern was going to be the best choice for that. So that sickening feeling that you had was a sacrifice to keep a greater spirit satisfied.
There's silence on the other end of the phone for a couple of moments, and it's a long, long pause. You can tell that he's on the other side of the phone as you can hear him breathing slowly as he's processing what you've said. But after a few of those long, lingering moments, okay, you're there, I'm here. I can't imagine the difficulty of the situation. It must have been a really, really hard choice, and I'm just glad everybody's okay. I'm glad everybody made it out okay. I'm glad you're safe. That's all that's important. I mean, I know it was really important to everyone, and that it was really hard to get the thing built, but a house can be rebuilt. You can't come back from the dead. So I'm just glad you're safe, and I'm glad everybody's okay, and we'll figure out the rest. And if you need a place to stay, or if you're having a hard time, I'm sure we've got space up here if you guys need to fall back somewhere. But must have been a really hard choice.
It took a while to decide on what to choose. We were going back and forth on a lot of different things, but to try and make up for 10 years, it had to be something big in order to appease that spirit. There are some talks that we'll just fight the spirit every year.
You don't want to do that.
I love a good fight. Fighting spirits is not really my forte, though.
Well, those spirits, the spirit of storm, especially a storm like that, that is a strong spirit. And I've learned a lot about those kinds of spirits, and they don't get less strong. If anything, they get stronger. And with the way things have been, especially in the state of the world and the unpredictability of climate and climate change, they're only getting more chaotic and more strong and more unpredictable. And I mean, they're dealing with forces that we don't ever even understand. And as far as I can tell, the worm influence on them is getting even more chaotic and out of control. And so you don't know what you'd be up against next year or the year after that. And I'm glad you had to make a tough choice, and I think all things considered, not knowing all the choices in front of you, you made the one you had to.
Yeah. Well, and it was a hard one because yeah, we worked really hard to get there, almost a year building up to this point, and all of those people that came by and they helped do that, and now it's just gone. Grandmother Willow, the spirit that was there, she's gone too. So, but we're not leaving this place. The fight is still too important here, and we're working on getting other things ironed out, getting things figured out for what's going on here. But if the time does come where they all need an area to fall back to, I'll let them know. Then just give you a call.
What do you mean they?
We, well, they as in I'll let them know, as in the rest of the members of the pack.
Aiden.
Yeah.
I was pretty emotionally intuitive even before I was at the urge. And I know that you were born among wolves, but I know that wolves say what they mean. What do you mean they?
There's no pun intended, but things are getting a little hairy here. The fights that are going to be coming up are going to be harder. Each one is getting more and more difficult. My you know how your role is to be 1 foot here and 1 foot into the Umbra. You are the bridge between here and the spirits, and to help guide people through that. My role is, as I've been told recently, the soldier. Do as I'm told. There be a time in the future, I don't know how near or far that's going to be, but I'm not going to be here. But the pack make sure that they make it. So it's a thing that's lingering in the back of my head. But yeah.
I've learned a lot being up here about the roles. And you're right. You are the Arun. You're the battering ram. First one in, last one out. The tank, the bulldozer. And I understand what that means. And as much as I don't like the idea of it, I understand that we all have our part to play. And I've come to learn a lot about life expectancy among our kind. I know, looking around the Sapt up here, that there aren't a lot over the age of 30. Very few even over the age of 40. And that doesn't say much for living a good long life. And yeah, it's ambitious to hope for that. But I also know that the energy you put out into the universe is the energy the universe is going to give back to you. Don't write the end of the story ahead of it being written. You seem to think you know the ending already. And maybe that's the ending someday, but you seem to think it's coming a lot sooner than it should. Why do you think that?
There's I've talked to I think a reliable source who gave me an insight to things that are to come. Had another person say that these things like to play tricks on a rune.
You talk to a spirit and then you talk to another Arun. I get it.
Yeah, that's that's exactly how that happened.
I've had a lot of conversations with spirits recently. Rarely are they wrong. But I can tell you this. Rarely do they tell you the whole story either. Mostly because they can't. They don't know it.
That's frustrating.
It is. They're not wrong, but what they told you might have been missing a rather crucial detail. When? Were they talking about soon? Or were they talking about a long time from now?
Very vague, near future. Fights
In
to
the
come.
in the eyes of spirits, the near future could be a decade from now. Time works differently for them.
It's fair. So all that wisdom rubbing off on you now? Are you trying to teach me things?
It's my job, isn't it? I'm supposed to
Yeah.
be interpreting the spirits for you.
You're doing a great job.
Don't go into your next fights ignoring your instincts because of something a spirit told you. Trust the gifts Gaia has given you and trust the gifts you were born with. You have an advantage that very few of us have. You were born with instincts that very few of us were born with. We had to learn them. Trust those instincts. And yes, that time will probably come one day, and I will be sad to see it come. I will be sad for the day that you will have to fall. It's coming for all of us. But I believe that it's a long way still. You are much more capable than you think.
Thanks, Terrance. I will take your counsel to heart.
I hope you do. I know I'm still new at this, but I believe in you. I've always believed in you ever since the first day I met you and noticed that there was something different about you. Little did I know how different it was and how different it would make things for me, but I'm glad that it did. You changed my life. And I'm never, ever going to be able to repay you for that. But the least I can do is make sure you don't throw yours away.
A payment you can do if one was needed, which you don't, but you just keep doing the work. You're doing a great job. I brought up some of the things that you were able to do right off the bat to Eliza, and she said that you are going to be doing great things. The fact that you were able to talk to Regina shortly after your initial change, that's a big deal. Not a lot of people are, even some of the most adept guru are able to do it just like that, and you are. So you got big, nice road paved ahead of you.
Well, that's flattering.
And yeah, it's coming from Eliza, and she doesn't give compliments too often. Usually, it's actually she's been a lot nicer lately since other things have happened. But beforehand, she was a bit bitter. But overall, she's getting better.
It's also a lot of pressure, but okay. I'm not going to think about that too much.
You just keep doing what you're doing, and you'll do just fine.
You too. You keep doing what you're doing, and stop thinking about what the spirit had to tell you. There's a reason they had to tell you that. I don't know what it is. I wasn't there, but you have to remember that they work on a different agenda or schedule than we do.
Okay. It's a lot of extra stuff that they remember.
It really is. This is why you need all the different moons around you, because you need translators.
Yeah. My job's easy. You point, I hit. That's that's my job.
Well, I'm glad we have you for that, because you point me and I try to hit something, I end up getting tossed really, really, really far, as I've learned in lessons many, many times.
Hey, if they're beating you up too bad, you let me know. I'll come have a visit. Talk to them.
It's all part of it. Nothing too
Okay.
bad. Thankfully, these powers allow the recovery time to shorten.
At least you're accepting it. One of my other ones took a long time to actually accept what they are. Although ended up doing it in a great time of need. So, but I'm glad that you're able to go through those transitions and able to use all the gifts Gaia has given you.
I never felt like I belonged. Now I feel like I belong. I just wish I could be there with you and with the others, because that's where I really belong. That's my city, and that's where I should be fighting for it. But I know I still have a lot to learn, and I know that I would be a liability to you right now. I've had a long time to think about that, and it's a difficult pill to swallow, but when I'm ready, I'm coming down there as quickly as I can.
I look forward to it.
Me too.
And then I'll toss you around a little bit.
Yeah, I bet you will.
Well, I'm sure you and Eliza would get along great. But if you do need anything, just let me know.
Well,
I'll try and be better about communication with you. I know it's been a little bit, but hurricanes.
same. The recovery is still a thing up here too. I mean, that first one really hit a lot of people up here. You know, not us as bad, but a lot of people west of here, and our SAP covers a wide area. We're still helping people out west of us, so there's a lot to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm glad you're okay. That feeling, I don't want to feel anything like that again, hopefully anytime soon, but I know
Hopefully not.
I know it was a difficult decision. I'm sorry you had to make it, but I trust that it was the right one.
It was made under some very big words that were said, so I feel like it was the right one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get some sleep.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah. I'm sorry again. Just
you're good. You can call me anytime. I was about to yell at whoever was on the phone,
yeah.
but I saw it was you. So
Well, when that happened, I just assumed the worst, and if you hadn't answered, I was gonna hop in a car and head down there or something, because who knew what was happening. But I'm glad you're okay. Like I said, you're safe. That's all that matters. I'll let you get to sleep, and hopefully we can figure out something for you guys down there soon. If you need help setting up a new one, let me know. I'll see if I can get some volunteers from up here.
yeah, we'll give you a call if something changes like that.
Okay.
All right, you take care, Terrance. All right,
You too.
I'll hang up.
As he hangs up the phone, and as you lay down, what's going through your mind after this conversation?
Lots. Trying to figure out what else the spirit could have been telling him, because now that's two theurges that have brought things up. And Charles also brought up that sometimes they do like to play tricks, or the other side is that they're not giving the whole picture. We're only seeing a glimpse. So trying to figure out what pieces are missing to possibly avoid an inevitable future, or if there's a whole different side going on to it altogether. So tossing and turning a lot throughout the night, probably not going back to sleep.
Another thought that you can't help have enter your mind is, if he felt it and he was involved in the ritual, who else felt it? Because there were a lot of others involved in that ritual, including your mentor, Duncan. We transition now to a few days later. Aspen, moments of peace have been few and far between for you as of late. Even since the night of the storm, even since the night of the sacrifice, things have been a little bit uneasy, even at home. Artie has been understanding, but he has been a little uncomfortable ever since the decision was made. He has agreed and supported your decision, but something has told you that there is definitely a discomfort in that agreement, and that he is doing so to be supportive, but maybe he doesn't 100% believe that there is definitely some doubt in there, but he will force himself to believe it, that some things are more important than ragabashing. So as you sit in the apartment, he's gone out grocery shopping, and you're getting a moment to yourself, a moment's peace. Finally. However, that peace is quickly interrupted when the roar of a motorcycle outside breaks the peace. Jester, or should I say Ryder, there are some benefits to riding around in Jester's body as of late. Smoking, drinking, those pleasures that you've missed ever since you've been dead. That's been great. Getting to breathe again, that's been great. Getting to ride the motorcycle again. You don't get to really enjoy it as much when you're in your spiritual form. You just get to watch Jester enjoy it. But now getting to feel it makes you almost regret, just a little bit, having given it all up. But then you remember, the kid is important. She has promise. And you had very little left to give with where you were at. You were the past. Your fight was done. And you were only doing more harm than good in this fight. That being said, you remember what it was to lead. You remember the decisions you had to make. And they weren't always the right one. Especially the last one. the last true decisions you made when you were right of mind before Hoglosk overtook you. The decisions that cost you everything. So as you sit outside Aspen's apartment that she shares with the other kid, the other one that you failed because you were too blind to continue to be of any good to the future of Guru. Those thoughts of leadership cross your mind. Looking up at the apartment, she's not doing too bad for herself. It's a nice enough place. Eventually, you climb off your motorcycle and you start heading up.
Check for a doorbell. Oh,
yeah.
go ahead. I was going to say, we'll check for a doorbell. If not, I'll knock on the door.
Okay, there's no doorbell to be seen, but there isn't. You do knock on the door, and Aspen, the knock snaps you out of whatever comfortable trance you were trying to reassert after the sound of the motorcycle was disturbing you.
Just gonna rub her head, get up off the couch, and go to the door and open it.
Hey there.
Hi, Ryder, I assume.
You assume right.
Come in.
Step in. Nice place you got here.
We're doing okay. Are you thirsty? You want a drink? Have you had enough beer? You want coffee?
I'm assuming with that means you don't have beer.
I have it. Just thought you might be, wanting a different flavor for once. Try and dabble in a lot of different things, not just, drinking yourself silly while you can.
I'm not giving the kid a liver problem if that's what you're worried about, but sure, I'll take a coffee.
All right. So, what do I owe this magnanimous pleasure that you've brought me today?
Where to start? So, I suppose with I'm sorry. When I was alive, I wasn't great. Fine, I was an asshole. I wasn't in the best of mind, I guess you know. Being dead kind of puts perspective in things. And I've had a lot to think about.
Oh, yeah? And she'll come out with 2 cups of coffee and put them down on the coffee table, sit next to him.
Yeah. I think you're doing a good job at leading, especially given the circumstances you got. But just be careful. Letting your emotions cloud things. I know it's funny coming from me. In the end, it wasn't just the counsel I was given that led me to make the decisions I made. I hesitated in pushing forward because there was a woman and I didn't want her to die. It's funny because in the end it happened anyways.
You think I'm doing the same thing?
I don't know. I can't rightly tell. I don't know all the decisions you made. Just, I don't want you to fall into the same holes I fell.
I get it. I appreciate you coming, talking. But, I'm not like you. Not everybody wants to tell me what kind of leader I should be, and how I should lead, and what I should do, and what I shouldn't do. And honestly, I'm kind of sick of it. I just want to do what I think is best.
I get it. I get it. Definitely trust your own judgment. Just sometimes, for us especially, that judgment gets to be clouded a bit, especially if we keep losing people we care about or put in situations where it doesn't seem like there's an easy way out.
I think just being a leader, there's no easy way out. Somebody loses.
It's true. It's not an easy decisions to make. We leaders have the hard choices.
And if you wouldn't have hesitated, do you think you could have accomplished what you needed to accomplish, or would all of this have still been the same?
I don't know. I think if we'd struck sooner, maybe we would not have been put in a situation where I had to split my sept into 2 different fights. And one fight they sacrificed everything to win, and the other we lost. Not to mention, half my Caern abandoned me for that decision in that crucial moment. Half my sept.
Sounds like, I don't know, it sounds like no matter what, you've got a shitty choice to make.
Yeah. I guess that's our life.
Yep. Didn't know I'd be sitting here relating to Ryder inside Jester, but just relating to Ryder, that on its own is weird.
Yeah, it's kind of weird relating to you. I haven't been the biggest fan of the Nation or Silverfangs in general over the last years, especially after they decided we weren't risking anything because there was nothing worth it to them to come help us.
Yeah. Hey, Ryder. Not to get all, I don't know, gushy with you or anything. I did want to save you, you know.
I know. I think she said that.
Yeah, she likes to tell all the stories.
She likes to talk.
Yeah. It's when she doesn't talk that I get the most uncomfortable.
There's something wrong then.
Yeah, she hasn't done a lot of that lately.
No, she hasn't.
Do you get to talk to her in there? Do you guys still chat?
Before this, yeah, but now I still try to reach her, but I can't. Maybe you could do something. I don't know.
Well, as much as I love your company, Ryder, I'd love to have Jester back more.
Yeah, and kid should probably have her body back. It's her life, not mine. Mine's over.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens after all of this. We'll see where all of us are at. Who knows? Maybe we'll be right there with you.
Oh, I hope not. Hope you go on to, the afterlives you want to go on to.
Hopefully we all survive, right? That's the
That's the
that's
best
the hope.
option.
What is something you want to see if we can thrive here?
I want to see more packs here. I want to see more Cairns open and moots again.
You think I made the right choice?
I may not be the best one to ask, but I think so. But then again, I don't really care about spirits that much, so it wasn't a big deal to me. And like I said, haven't had much love for the nation for a while. But
Well,
maybe your boy had a point. Just
maybe
something to consider.
I can use all the reassurance I can get at this point. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, you pointed out it would have come back, maybe destroyed more in the city than we could have fixed. Maybe brought more Banes in, more nasties. So
Okay. So when you made your choice, the choice that you said was a mistake, would you change it?
if it brought Holly back, I would.
Fair point. Which is why I can't keep letting people sacrifice. Not on their own.
Get it. I get it. And maybe there's ways to make it up to the others outside the pack.
We'll see. I guess time will tell.
Besides, I heard something about like spirits being like just remade. I don't know. I don't really never understood that shit.
Not great with it either. That's an Eliza talk, for sure.
Yeah.
You doing okay on that side?
Yeah. I'm all right.
Because you're gonna have to go back there soon. So
Eh. It's fine. The kid keeps me company. Or I keep her company. It's weird.
mutually beneficial, I guess.
Yeah, something like that.
Thanks, Ryder.
You're welcome. You've kind of, proven that whole our runes are the only one should leave wrong, I guess. Anyway, I should get going.
You can take the coffee with you.
Thanks.
So Ryder's in Jester's body, stands up, taking the coffee, stopping at the door to give one last look and a smile to Aspen before heading out. A few moments later, the motorcycle kicks up and goes off into the distance. Aspen, what's going through your mind after this conversation with an adversary turned temporary ally, turned sacrifice, turned whatever they are now?
Well, surface level, it's strange having a conversation where Ryder's not a complete asshole the whole time. I mean, we've had good conversations, but he's always kind of been an asshole. But no, it's nice that he cared to like check up. And that was something she needed. Like it wasn't so much of like you're doing things wrong, it was like keep an eye on it, and there was a bit of reassurance, so that was nice. But deep down, it's still so many people that she's got to juggle and figure out and do right by. So she's still struggling.
While Ryder enjoys the sound of the engine of his motorcycle as he coasts down the road, inside, Jester can only hear the echoing sound of the word of Leon saying monster as she continues to sink deeper and deeper, attached to a stone, deeper and deeper. We transition now to the Memorial Gardens, a place that was once a refuge for the Tampa Guru, now a place of death, a cemetery. What it once was, now again. A place of stillness, a place that gives no comfort. Possibly even less comfort than was once intended. Barren, dry, empty. Lucas, you've come to the Memorial Gardens for a few purposes, but what specifically brings you here this particular day?
After the events of the hurricanes and after the events of the Memorial Gardens, Lucas has not heard from his oldest friend in a very long time. There was a lot going on after the hurricane, and he feels very guilty that he did not seek out his friend after that. But he assumes, knowing him the way that he knows him, that he's going to try to pick a carcass clean. And if there's anything left here, he'll probably find him here.
Okay. So as you're moving through the Memorial Gardens, where specifically would you like to begin your search?
Well, I'll get out of the truck and I'll grab one of my sling bags and a pair of pruning shears. And the first place I'm going to go over to is the fountain outside the main office where I initially deposited that seed when I first got here. And any of the more commonly known as cow's bane blooms that are there. I'm going to start snipping those and putting them into the bag.
Okay. Give me a intelligence and what did we use? Science for your botany, I believe, is what we used.
Yes, with the specialty in body, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's use that.
Rage 2.
Rage 2. Yep, we're going to stay at Rage 2 until this season is over.
Two successes.
2 successes. As you dig down into the water of the fountain, attempting to kind of reach for the plant, which you know has started to grow up the side of the fountain, you reach for the vines, and as you start to grab at one of the blooms, it's very brittle and breaks off in your hand. You reach for another and attempt to harvest it, and it too just crumbles away, almost like ashen in your hand. You have theories, but nothing concrete. You can try and roll an intelligence and occult to try and postulate on what may be the source of this. Though science is telling you there's no clear reasoning, maybe the storm could be to blame, as it did cause a lot of upheaval, a lot of change, but even the botanical gardens didn't experience too much issue with, they did have cross-pollination that they were concerned about, but nothing that would have been overly damaging to their growth.
3 successes on an intelligence and occult.
The spirits were really important in nurturing this area. With them gone, and the Umbra a barren wasteland, it's likely nothing will grow here for some time. In fact, it's even more likely that anything alive here will likely die off within the next few months. The grass, the bushes, the trees, everything will likely die over time.
Pull a handful of the plant out and just kind of toss it on the ground and just rub my face in frustration. It is everything. We're gonna lose everything here. Shit. That I did not think about. Okay. One more stop. We'll see if we can salvage anything, and I'll start to head towards where Grandmother Willow was.
Crossing over the fields of gravestones, eventually you make your way to the base of the gigantic willow tree, now completely devoid of any leaves whatsoever. Most of them that have fallen to the ground have since been removed because of landscaping. Groundskeepers have been tending to the grounds, mowing the grass, so all the leaves have been cleared away. She stands barren, lifeless. The tree itself seems to still be alive, but based off of what you saw with the plant, which was small, it is likely decaying from within and dying slowly.
Yeah, that looks about like I thought it was going to look. Okay. Let's see what we can find here. Lucas will get down on his pretty much on his knees and start sifting through the area around the base of the tree, looking for any remnants of any kind of seed that he might be able to find.
Sure. Give me a wits and science. Botany specialty applies.
Four successes.
Sifting around, you almost have to dig your hands into the dirt a little bit, which you find gives way very easily at first, almost pulling from the ground with very little resistance, especially at the base of the roots. As you start to pull away, especially towards the base of the tree, you start digging, and eventually the ground gives, especially in a patch near the base. Eventually, you find yourself pulling back a handful of the dirt, and inside, you find a bunch of these decaying willow leaves within the dirt. You reach in again, and your hand almost sinks all the way to the shoulder, down deep into the earth. And your hand collides with a rib cage.
What? Pulled his hand back, kind of stunned at what he just thinks he just touched. Sure, he just touched. Kind of look around nervously, and we'll stick our hand back in there and see what else we can find is in there.
As you're feeling around, your hand down deep in the ground, you dig around, and then eventually your hand touches something, and as it touches it, you feel a sharp burning sensation radiate up your hand, causing it to recoil backwards as you find a freshly cut wound on your hand, burning and bleeding from the incision upon your palm.
Itch, what was that? No, that can't be. Why? Okay. He'll reach into his sling and pull out just like a pair of work gloves. I'm gonna go back in and see if I can get a hold of whatever it was that I had my hand on again.
Okay. Feeling around, you eventually do find the object protruding from the rib cage. Grabbing onto it. Give me a strength and athletics roll.
Four successes.
You start to wrench and can jerk away at whatever this sharp object is until you pull your arm out from the hole in the ground and you find yourself holding a broken remnant of a long silver blade in your hand. Dried brown, black blood clinging to the surface of the blade. Even bone fragments attached, still burned and crisped along the blade itself.
He'll look at it for a second, and then his eyes will get big and he'll drop it. Be like, oh, shit.
At this point, you feel the pins and needles climbing up your shoulder. I was just starting to think there was nothing to find here.
But you have the worst timing ever.
Or the best.
Ugh. Lucas will kneel down and pick up the piece. That's Yeah, that's it. That's, yeah, from the break. Jesus, that was... She broke that off inside of him, didn't she? That's rough, buddy. Hashugut, you're not thinking what I think you're thinking, are you?
What do you think I'm thinking, Lucas?
What's so special about this? Why this?
Garou blood.
That was part of the deal, wasn't it?
It's a little rough, but I think we could make it work.
Well, he's dead.
Kind of.
Well, hypothetically speaking,
Dead
If-
enough.
we do this thing here. The part of him that's still left over, is that gonna have some effect on him?
Who cares?
I've known you for a long time, and you've known me for a long time. That's not how it works.
What's
You know that.
dead is dead.
Yeah, but he's not all the way dead yet.
Dead enough.
Is it gonna make him more dead?
Probably. Only one way to find out. I don't know everything.
And, a Bane and a Ragabash walk into a bar. Yeah, I think this, bud, we're probably gonna need to hold off on that. Okay. Look, I make good on my deals, you know that. This one we might have to hold off on.
Besides, who are you to judge me? You did more work than I've ever done. Look at this place.
Yeah, it's
You
it's
made
real.
Piney Point look like child's play.
Yeah, we sure as shit did.
I thought
This is a
I'd
lot
be able to get a
worse.
little snack from the tree. There was nothing. Not even a root or a leaf.
Yeah. I didn't think it was going to be this bad. I thought it was just a tactical retreat. My God, this is really bad.
Even the worm's spirits noticed. And who can blame them?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe pragmatism isn't always the right approach. I don't know. I don't know anymore. This place is a shit show. Everything's sideways. I don't know. What
You
the
would
hell am I
all
doing
make
anymore?
excellent spirals. I'll tell you
Ugh.
that. work like this.
That's a tasteless joke. Thank you.
Sorry.
Look, honestly, I'm glad you're good. That storm was a big deal, and you're still slithering around. So I'm
I'm
at
just
least
glad
glad
I
to see you.
wasn't here when this happened.
Yeah. I don't think you could have got close to this place before it happened though, right?
No.
No. Yeah. Yeah, we tried that.
Why did you do it? Out of curiosity. Why this?
That's
Why not the car? Or the sword?
my whole life ever since they pulled me out of that house. And even that is a weird, strange memory for me, but my whole life I thought I was important. I thought that growing up in the Cairn, being the youngest child to be kinsought in that sept in a age, I thought I had a destiny. I thought I was going to do something important. I thought I was somebody. And my change was on schedule. The Shadow Lords picked me up, and man, they talked me up. They wanted me to do all kinds of things, and I was happy to go out there and find others like me and bring them back, because that's what gave me the life I had. That's what gave me my family that I never had growing up. And the whole fucking time, he never said one word to me, not once. He never speaks to me. It was just assumed that I was a Shadow Lord. It was just handed to me. But he never told me he wanted me. He never saw me. He never looked at me. He never talked to me. And I figured if one of his kids, Storm, if I could get something, a message to him, show him that I'm willing to not take half measures, that he would pay attention to me. And he's still quiet. And I hate him for it. So that's a little bit of where I'm coming from. That, and tactically, this place was a shit show. So it was an easy decision for me to make. Get him to notice me and get us into a better location, but only half of that came true. So, yeah.
I see you, Lucas.
Yeah, I know.
But this deal, this new place that you want to go, this place, no one will see you there. No one will notice you there. If you go there, if you become part of it, you are separate.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, that's not any different than the way things are now. Maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. Maybe I'm just supposed to exist in the in-between places, where the light doesn't touch. Maybe that's why I'm a Shadow Lord. I don't know.
But what about me?
Yeah.
I can't go with you. I don't belong there.
Well, you don't belong there because you choose not to belong there.
I can't belong there.
Could. It's possible.
You are all parts. I am one. I cannot be all parts.
Yeah, but every part's important.
Yes. You have taught me that much. This I know. One cannot consume if there is nothing left to consume. I know this. Wild, weaver, worm, all must exist. You have taught me this in the time we have spent together. But I am but worm. That place. That place is not for me. Cannot be for me. It would not have me.
Well, I mean, fine, fine. You can say whatever you want. You know me. I'm a stubborn asshole. So I will hear your words, and I will go, neat. We'll figure something else out because that's what I do. So I'm gonna figure something else out. And that's what we're gonna do.
As you say.
Yeah. On a different note, I think I might know somewhere where you could get a snack.
Oh,
Those pesky Get, from what I hear, have left town.
interesting.
Yeah. I thought so too. At some point I was gonna go there and check that out, and I feel like that sounds like a good time for both of us.
Yes.
Okay. Good. Like I said, I make good on the deal. Just on this part right now, we're gonna hold off on that. That's not mine to give. But the other one, all you can eat buffet. Nobody owns it.
We'll see.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're right. We'll see.
A reunion of sorts. Spirit and Guru. The future undecided. Should Lucas decide to join the others in this new endeavor, this new cairn, would he be leaving Hashugut behind? For Hashugut is of the worm, one of three pieces, whereas Lucas is Guru, all three: wolf, spirit, and human. We're going to take a brief break. And when we come back in part 2, the pack is going to try to bring Jester back from the depths of despair. And Aspen is going to have a confrontation with Charles over her decision to sacrifice the Cairn. Don't go away. We'll be back in about 6 minutes. See you soon. Welcome back. In the first half, we saw Aspen and Ryder Jester have a very interesting conversation about leadership. Aiden received a distressed phone call from Terrance after Terrance felt a disturbance because of the Cairn's destruction. And Lucas have a reunion of sorts with Hashugut, where Hashugut explained to Lucas that if Lucas goes to the new Cairn, Hashugut may not be able to follow. But Lucas also discovered the broken piece of Ryder's clave deep within the ground, where Ryder is buried at the base of the tree that was Grandmother Willow. Now, in the second half, we find ourselves several days later at Greer's storage complex, the place where Eliza and Chloe and the RVs have been taking up refuge for some time. Here is where the pack has reassembled, where Eliza has instructed the others to gather as they are going to attempt to reach out to Jester, to go into the depths of Jester's mind, to try and find her amidst all of the grief and all of the sadness, to try and reach out to her, to try and beckon her back, to try and bring her to the surface and try and work through her grief, to try and bring her home so that she doesn't become a victim of the depths of Hirano, so she doesn't lose her wolf, so that she doesn't lose herself and possibly become the subject of banes that Ryder will eventually no longer be able to protect her from. So as we start our scene, we are in the storage complex, in one of the storage units which has been prepared for this very occasion. Most of the unit has been cleared out. A sleeping bag has been rolled out in the center of the room. A ritual circle has been drawn around. Candles, incense, various ritualistic implements have been laid out. And as Eliza has everyone gathered, including Ryder in Jester's body, she explains, "Well, it's been some time now, and I'm afraid any attempts to contact Jester have not worked. She has not even made any attempt to try and come out. And while it has been quite a pleasure seeing you again, Ryder,
I'm sure.
we need to try and reach her. If this goes on too much longer, I fear that Hirano will take her, and she may not come back. I dare say the damage that could be done could be irreversible if she continues to let this go on much longer. Now, I have some working theories, some things we could try to do, but the first thing I would like to attempt is a dream walk. I would call upon the spirits of dreams to enter into her mind, to seek her out, and with our voices and our messages to her, reach out to her, calling her back, creating a path of sorts for her to follow, to bring her to the surface, to hear us, to hear our words, to make sure they reach her wherever she is inside her subconscious, to beckon her out. If that doesn't work, I'll take it a step further and attempt to venture in myself. It's a much more dangerous practice and one that I would prefer not to undertake, but if it was necessary, I could attempt it, but it could be much more problematic for us both in considering everything that we have undertaken so far. I would rather not leave all y'all without a theurge if it goes badly. Any thoughts, questions on the matter before we begin?
Do I just need to leave?
No, not at first. What I'm going to have you do is lie here, and then I am going to nudge you out of a sort, but I will not do so overly forceful like, just enough to vacate her mind long enough to allow the dream spirits in. If they are successful in beckoning her out, it will only be a matter of moments before she returns. To her, it might seem like quite some time. To the rest of us, it will only be moments. If she does not return, the force shouldn't be enough to keep you out. You should be able to return and take that space before any Banes are able to find their way in. We should be able to protect her and preserve her. However, if she does return, you will resume your rightful place as her ride-along partner.
Got it.
Do we need quiet on this side?
Nah, at first, yes. As I send the dream spirits in, I will be focused and concentrated, but one by one, you will utter your messages to me, whispering them in my ear, and then they will be sent through me in your voice to her. She will hear them as if they were spoken from your very lips. The dream spirits will speak in your voice with your intentions to her, as if they were said from you yourself. Depending on how particularly persuasive you are, it may assist her on finding her way back. So be as heartfelt as possible and as genuine as possible in your intentions. Say all the things you wish her to hear, and mean them. This may be our only attempt at this, for the further she goes, the harder it will be to bring her back.
So no kid gloves for this.
Certainly not.
Okay.
Anything we need to be watching out for while this is going on? Or, I don't know, like sometimes it attracts different things when spirits are involved.
No, I don't believe this will attract any particular issues. I have made the proper precautions. I've been preparing this place for some time in the event that something like this were to occur. As I said, the absence of Ryder's presence within her mind will be very brief, momentary at best. It shouldn't attract any particular presences, so there should be no need to be on high alert. Just focus your intentions towards Jester and make sure that your desire to have her back is fully impressed upon her. We are her lifeline of a sorts at this moment. I will only be getting a brief glimpse of what it is she's experiencing, and that will only give me a vague idea of what it is she's going through.
Okay.
Very good. She grabs a cushion that she's obviously taken from one of the seat benches in the RV and sets it down at the head of the sleeping bag and sits down upon it, crossing her legs, and then gestures to the sleeping bag. Ryder, if you please.
Sit down. Big sigh. Lay back.
This isn't going to tickle. It's not going to feel very pleasant at first for you, but I'll show you it will be quick. With that, she focuses and places her hands on either side of Jester's head. And she starts to chant in a language that nobody can make out, but it seems to be very tribal in nature. And as she speaks, it has a rhythmic quality to it, and it starts to pick up in tone. And after a few repetitive phrases, Ryder starts to feel a forceful push that's soft at first, but becomes more and more, forcing him out of Jester's body until with one final shove, he's ejected out. Not in a way that any of you can physically detect, but you see her body, which is kind of a little tensed up and rigid, suddenly relax and melt into a fully unconscious state onto the sleeping bag. After a few moments, Eliza kind of lifts her head, which has gone slack to the side, up again. Give me a few moments, and then one at a time, we will start whispering in my ear. I will gesture for you to do so when the time is right. She starts a new chant. Different words, different rhythm. Jester, you don't know how long you've been sinking. Could have been days, months. You remember when everything went black. You remember when there was no sound. You remember the cut, the splash of blood. You remember the faint, muffled voice and the dying light of the headlights. And then there was just the sinking. The stone and the chain attached to your wrist, pulling you deeper and deeper, down and down. There was no air to be had in your lungs, but you weren't suffocating, you weren't drowning. If you could scream, it was silent. There was no water filling your lungs, but you were sinking nonetheless, deeper and deeper. Bubbles would rise, and in those bubbles, all around you, were just the voices and the faces of your failures. Leon calling you a monster, telling you of your betrayal, that the monsters that took him in didn't lie to him about what they were, while you did. Aspen calling you selfish. Chloe accusing you of sacrificing all of your friends and the ones you hold dear, over and over. Maybe they were right. No, they were definitely right. Everything they said was true. You are a monster. You are a failure. You are selfish. You sink deeper and deeper into the endless well where there appears to be no bottom and there's no light at the surface up above, just the echoing deep. Minutes turn into hours, hours turn into days, days to weeks, weeks to months, months to years, years to eons. But then there's another noise that breaks the repetitive pattern. Muffled at first, like a splash from up above, as if it disturbed the stillness of the surface of the water that seems like high above a distance you can't even recognize. You try to look up behind you, but at first there's only darkness. Until a soft, radiating glow, like a falling star, comes moving down through the endless dark. Down, down through the deep. Gliding down until it's coming just next to you, next to your sinking form. And in that soft glow, you see Eliza. Not sinking, but swimming. Or floating down next to you. Jester, my child. Can you hear me?
Going to reach out the hand that isn't chained towards the light.
You reach, and as you try to reach, roll me a composure and resolve. However, I want you to take a -3 dice to the pool.
Okay. No rage?
No rage.
One success.
As you attempt to reach out, the chain drags, pulling you just out of reach of the glow. Jester, can you hear me?
I'll try to call out. Yes.
I hear you. Speak to me.
I can see you, but I can't reach you.
Yes, you can.
No, it's pulling me down too far. It's too heavy.
As you continue to sink, what was Eliza suddenly takes on the shape of Aiden. Aiden, Eliza kind of gestures to you, calling you, pulling you close as you whisper in her ear, say what you wish to say, and then make a roll of your choosing to try and beckon Jester back.
Hey, Jester, it's me, Aiden. I can only imagine what you're going through right now, but if it's a struggle, you're not one to lie down and just take it. You've had life beat you over and over and over again, and each time you stand up and you keep fighting. And you've talked about your patron and how you are able to break through hard barriers. This is the hardest one that you've had to go through, and you're the only one that can break through it. So this is the time to fight. So get up, rub some dirt in it, and let's go. Is that it? I think I did it.
All right, Aiden, make me a charisma and persuasion roll. Or leadership. I'll give you a choice of those two. Two successes. Okay. As you continue to sink, the glowing form then shifts to the face and form of Lucas. Lucas, you step up next to Eliza and speak into her ear.
Hey, killer. Look, I was I was going to be real mad at you. You know, I was going to be a shit. Hell, I'm probably going to be a shit anyway, but I started thinking about it and I realized that we're not different. I may be really the only person here that knows exactly how you feel right now. I had to take a thing that I loved, wasn't the same as you, and I had to do the same thing. And then after I did that, everything I loved and valued and wanted was gone. And I drove all over the place after that, in the dark, in the light, in the dark, by myself, talking to no one, not even listening to the fucking radio. And I didn't think I would ever stop driving. I didn't think I would ever find a place. I didn't think that anything would ever happen. But I did. And I don't want to be this shitty self-help story, but there's one thing I know about you is you're stone cold. Whether you realize it or not, you've never backed down from a single fucking thing. I've never seen you once back down from anything. And you think this is going to get better and I'm not going to fucking bullshit you, it's not. It's just going to become part of you. So I'll make a deal with you. You get out of this shit, and I won't burn this whole fucking thing down. Because I can't do any of this shit without you around. Because I cannot stand the idea of losing a friend right now. And I'm serious. You know I will. I'll burn this whole shit down. From the inside out. Just to see what color it looks like. So get up. And get fucking moving. We have work to do. Don't you leave me in this shit by myself.
Give me a manipulation and persuasion or intimidation, depending on your choice, because I think both would apply.
I will take that intimidation, and can I use my boon for that?
I believe so, yes.
Excellent. Three successes.
Okay. The glowing figure shifts, this time the bald head of Lucas disappearing into loose flowing dreadlocks that appear in the water as it takes the form of Artie. Hey, Jess. Lucas thinks he's the only one who understands where you are. And in a way, maybe, because you intentionally did what you did. But he's not the only one who's responsible for the death of people they cared about. And if you come back, and I hope that you do, know that we're here to talk about it. Know that we're here to walk you through it. Know that we're here to help you heal. Because she did when she didn't think she could. And I did when I didn't think I could. And if anybody can, I know you can. So come back. Because we need you. We need you really bad. The glowing figure changes. And there's Aspen.
Hey, Jess. For somebody who can talk their way through almost anything, I don't know the words. I don't want to sit here and tell you that you have to come back. Because it's not fair. But I want to tell you that I need you here. And not because I need you to fight. Not because I need you to be a guru. Because I need you here to be with your family. I don't want to lose you. I know you've been through a lot, but I can't lose you. Not now. Not after everything. And maybe I'm selfish. But I need you here. We all need you here. So please, if you've got anything left to give, please come back.
Aspen, roll me a charisma and persuasion. And in this particular case, I will not let you use your favor because this is not a command as an alpha.
A 7 with a crit.
But it's still good anyway. And last but not least, the form shifts to Eliza. This is all we can do for now, my girl. I've already lost one child because of this, and it was mine. My sadness that lost my child. I will not let it take another. Whether this works or not, I will keep looking for you. And I will stop at nothing to get you back. So I need you to reach out with everything you have and take my hand. I need you to roll one more composure and resolve after you say anything you'd like to say. This time, based off of Aspen and Lucas's successes, you only have a -1.
Okay. At first, I'm going to start to like rip at the chain and realize like how far is embedded into my arm. It's not coming out. At that point, I'm going to grip the chain and pull at the rock and try to swim up to reach her. I need to get out. I made promises.
Now, if you'll remind me, how many dots of Hirano, solid dots, do you have?
2.
2. Okay.
Can I spend a willpower here?
Yes.
Alright, I'm gonna spend a willpower. I mean, technically I got 3 successes, but I'm gonna try for another one. 4 successes.
Okay. Pulling up the rock with all of your strength. You can feel that it wants to continue to force you to sink. It's heavy. Very heavy. And you know that it could get heavier. Because with only 2 dots of Hirano, it's not the boulder it could be. Not yet. It can only get bigger. With the encouraging words of your pack, your family, with the coping mechanisms of your pack patron, star, the resiliency granted to you by your pack patron. You raise that sinking rock up, cradling it beneath your arm, and kick your legs beneath you with all of your might, reaching up with your free hand up as high as you can, launching yourself up into the water above. And as your hand makes contact with the glowing, outstretched hand of Eliza, you take a deep gasp in as Jester sits upright from the sleeping bag. Back in her body once more. Jester, despite the fact that you've been through a lot and you were in the depths of Hirano, it is as if you are back the moment after everything had happened. You do remember the sinking. You do remember the words you just heard. But the emotional toll of it all can't be denied. And you immediately start crying.
I will collapse and curl into a tight ball and start sobbing.
And the scene is yours.
Not run over and just lay next to her and just hug her.
Jester, you are at 0 rage. You have lost
Okay.
the wolf until that night when you can howl at the moon. But you are back.
It's too bright and everything hurts, and the sobs will increase into like heartbroken cries until I lose my voice.
Eliza remains seated on the pillow for a few moments. You could see that her shoulders have sagged a little bit from the emotional toll, the energy toll of it all, but she eventually does hold her hand out, taking one of Jester's hands in her own, squeezing it gently. It's all right, my girl. You're back. And we are here. And we are never letting you go.
I'll squeeze her hand. Kind of turn and like bury my head into Aspen's shoulder as I'm crying.
Just pet her head. Look over to the boys because they look really uncomfortable and like, just get her water, please.
Yep, can do. Go find some bottles of water.
Lucas will walk over and kneel down and just press his forehead into the back of her head. If you ask me for a cigar, I'm gonna break your kneecaps.
What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, if you've got like some weird breathing problems over the next couple of days, just stay away from the cigars.
Ryder
You
was
do that.
taking a trip on ya. That's
Yeah.
what he's talking about.
Fuck.
That's a good word for him. I agree. It's good to have you back, girl.
The bonds forged in a pack are stronger than any because they're not just the bonds of blood. They're not just the bonds of friendship. They're the bonds of spirit, They're the bonds of human, and they're the bonds of wolf. They are supernatural. So when I said that reaching out, it was her lifeline, I meant that more than any other. The love shared between a pack, the kinship shared between a pack, is undeniable. And that's what makes the betrayal between a pack and the betrayal between a guru cut that much deeper. So we transition to a few days later. Aspen. He wanted to meet with Charles. Charles, who has not been seen around the storage unit, who probably hasn't even answered calls or text messages, not for the first few days after, but eventually agrees to a meeting. He doesn't agree to come to the storage unit. He doesn't agree to meet at the Memorial Gardens. Instead, he asks to meet outside a development complex. And he says, "This is Silverfang business. And if you have any respect for Silverfangs, you'll keep it to just that."
I will text back. It just wouldn't have it any other way. Very blank.
So following the address you're given, you take Regina alone and drive out to the development complex. And when you arrive, it is a strip mall, but it has no businesses moved in yet. It's just open, empty, developed lots that are waiting to be sold. You see the luxury sedan parked in the empty parking lot. You see the car is empty when you arrive, but you see that in one of the business fronts, the lights are on. When you park Regina, the car doesn't unlock the doors at first. The Jeep doesn't let you out right away.
And pet the steering wheel and like pat the dash. It's okay, Regina. I can take care of myself. And he's not going to get to me. It's fine.
After that, the door unlocks and you climb out. You head over to the lit up storefront. And as you reach for the door, it opens, unlocked. You walk inside. It is a empty storefront as you expect, but there's nobody inside. And you walk towards a back office where you see the door is ajar and there are lights on inside. And as you walk back into the back office area, you find Charles. There are two folding chairs. He is seated in one and the other is across from him.
I'll continue to stand and I'll walk in. Charles, nice to see you.
Aspen.
I'm surprised you're still around.
I have a job to do.
What job is that exactly?
I think you know. I was sent here to see to the good of this burgeoning sept. The investment that my uncle made in the opening of the cairn here, in his protege. The good of our tribe and its representation in the region. An investment that I also made with the opening of this cairn.
Good. I'm glad you're still around. Is this part of it? This empty establishment?
Yes. But I believe my uncle explained all this to you when you spoke to him.
He did. Making sure we were on the same page. It's part of having a conversation about these things, isn't it?
If you'd have asked me, I would have told you.
So when I ask next time, you'll answer?
I'm not sure there's going to be a next time.
So you're ready to leave?
There's nothing to leave. There's no sept here anymore. There's no cairn.
There's no cairn, but from what I understand, the investment was in me. I'm still here. I'm still living and breathing.
And you broke your word.
I did.
And you broke the litany.
I did. I absolutely did.
So what are you as a leader?
Someone who keeps people alive. Somebody who sees the bigger picture. Somebody who looks ahead of me instead of at my feet, as I've been told recently. Getting rid of that cairn was unfortunate, and a lot of people were hurt because of it. I understand that. I'm not unaware. I'm not ignorant to what this means. But it is that, or we hurt a lot of people, a lot of innocent people, a lot of people who don't deserve to be destroyed by a storm when they have nothing to do with this fight. Absolutely nothing. I had to do what's best for my pack, the ones who have been here standing with me from day one as I built that cairn from the ground up. Yes, with help, of course. But they're not in the trenches with us. They're not here with us. My pack is here with me. So the leader that I'm going to be is not one who just weighs statistics at people, at my fellow guru, and say, do what I say because the statistics say so. I'm not here to build soldiers and easy-minded people for me to push in the directions that I want them to go. I'll guide them, I'll lead them, but I won't control them, and I won't let them suffer when suffering doesn't need to be done.
But you are making them suffer. Yes, you spared the feelings of a few, but you may have hurt the feelings of many in the long run. You spit in the face of all those who put their own families, their own packs at risk to come out here and help you. And the spirits, what of the spirits that invested themselves in your cairn?
More spirits will be here when we can do what needs to be done to let this place thrive. That cairn, while it was there and it was a beacon and it was a symbol, I'm not here for symbols. I'm here for action. And I'm here to make sure that Tampa and the nation can thrive here. And if I hurt a couple people's feelings and they hurt, I understand that. But I'm here to make sure that this place thrives. And I can't do that with other threats looming around me. Did I make a decision? I made a decision. Was it the right one? I have no idea. But it's the decision I made to try and better this place.
How is anyone supposed to believe in you or follow you? How is your nation supposed to grow? Your pack, your sept? You are an oath breaker, a litany breaker. Your pack will not grow and thrive and succeed if you yourself cannot be believed.
My pack has not been growing and thriving
Yet,
since we've been here. They've
you
been
know that there were
they have-
more coming.
They have been sacrificing for far too long. And I'm not going to I will lose them if I continue on the track that you all want me to follow. I will lose them. I almost lost one. And where were you, Charles? You weren't there. No one else was there. My pack was there. And I'm not going to lose them by putting them in places where they have to do far too much. I'm not going to put them in that position. They've gone through too much already. If we have to sacrifice, we all sacrifice together. Which is much more than I could say for the nation that hasn't been here since building a cairn, showing face, and now what? Where have they been? Nowhere. And I apologize to you, and I apologize to Matthias, because out of everybody, I am so sorry that I hurt the two of you, because you've tried. You've been here, and I apologize, and I am so sorry that this hurts you, Charles, and I am so sorry that I hurt Matthias, but everyone else, where have they been?
You're right. Where have they been? That's what we've been trying to rectify. That's what we've been trying to build. You are supposed to be better than them.
And
Your words are supposed to be believable. Your oaths are supposed to be true. The oaths the others made to the king that came before, the ones that have been broken since, you were supposed to be better than that.
And I will continue to be better than that. If they see this as a mistake, that'll be something that will tarnish my history. But on my history, it's not done.
It's also the history of your tribe now.
And the history of my tribe. When I get to the place I want to get with my people, they'll see me as someone to be respected by our tribe. And I have to make hard decisions. That's something about being here alone. I have to make decisions. I didn't want to do that, Charles. You sit here and act like I wanted to do that.
You had another option. You had two other options given to you. One of them offered up willingly.
They will not sacrifice alone anymore.
Would it have been alone?
In
The pack
ways,
shares the burden.
Pack does share the burden.
So
But
it's
this is
never
also
alone.
Cairn is something we all invested in.
Do you not
Regina,
invest
we
in the
love
car?
we all love Regina, but it's not ours. It's not ours. It's his, and I won't do it to him. And you could say it's because of my connection to him, and I assure you it is not. Because I could have made Jester sacrifice again. I could have made her do it again to save him the trouble and me not be standing here in front of you right now.
And where was I? I was there when the execution was passed. I was willing to swing the blade myself. So don't act like I'm not willing to do the work for your pack. Don't act like I haven't been here trying to assist this entire time. I've been training your Arun.
For us,
Yes.
you truly believe that it's for us and not for him. You barely interact with us. You do what you need to do and you walk away. I don't see you except for meetings and when you have a task to be done. You're not here for us. You're here for him. You're here for our name.
It's not because I don't want to. It's not because I didn't want to. That is what I do because I have to. In order
Why do you
to
have to?
survive this.
Aren't you done surviving? Aren't you done surviving to fight again and again and again? Why are we here? If all we're doing is to survive, to fight.
Someone has to keep their oaths. Someone
choose.
in this family, in this tribe, has to have a word that is true.
You keep surviving then, Charles. You can keep surviving. Or you can learn to live, and I'm going to let my pack live.
For how long, Aspen?
As long as they can, because at this point, we all know we don't live long enough to see old age.
That's
So
what
at least
I have been working to change, and you are making it that much harder.
how? How do you expect to see that change?
You need support. It's true. But they are not going to follow Oathbreakers. They are not going to follow vagabonds. They're not going to follow the selfish. They need something to believe in. It isn't going to be me. It can't be me. You're right. I wasn't built that way. I understand what I am. I understand my purpose. You can be different. But you bite the hand that feeds you. You are young. You are inexperienced. You have to play the game. And yes, you can change the game. But not right away, not quickly. Word spreads. Reputation matters. Not just among the Guru, but among the spirits as well. I want to believe in you.
And believe in me, Charles. Believe in all of us. Believe in everything that we've done. If you see this as a mistake, that's your prerogative to see it as a mistake. And if the rest of them see it as a mistake, that is their prerogative too. But look at everything we've done, even since you've been here.
Are you
Everything
gonna
we've
allow them to pay for it? When those you've insulted, when those you've hurt, come banging at the gates, are you gonna allow them to pay for it? You offered up a vote, but you made the call before the
I did.
vote was cast.
I did. Sometimes leaders have to make the hard decisions. And if you want me to put it down on paper as to how the Cairn being gone versus half of my pack being gone, one or the other, into a space where they can't fight, where we're about to fight a bunch of leeches, and we need all that we have here to even have a single sliver of a chance. If you want me to put it in logical terms for you to justify it, I will try my best. But that's not why I did it. That's not why I did it.
You are fighting
did
the
it.
leeches without a cairn now. That is a strong disadvantage.
They
You
knew where our
understand
cairn
that?
was. They knew where our cairn was from the beginning. Did you know that?
It's not about the location. You do not have the spirits to give you the gifts you need to fight the leeches. You have just tactically hamstrung yourself. When you call upon your blessings, your gifts to fight the leeches, no one might answer. You understand that, right?
I do.
Or did you think about that ahead of time?
I did. I did. I'm not an idiot. I understand politically what it meant. I understand what the spirits meant. I understand what that means for our contrition. I understand. I thought about all of that. I did. And in that moment, I made a choice. And I understand I have a lot of apologizing and a lot of fixing to do. I understand that as well. I've been here more times than I can count. Trying to fix problems and more problems come along. That's what this is. That's what I've been doing this whole time.
Then maybe you're not fit for this. If you have to keep coming back here, then maybe you're doing something wrong.
And if that's what you believe, Charles, then you can leave. Because at the end of the day, my pack believes in me. And I'm here and I'm fighting with them. And I will continue to do that. With or without you. With or without the nation. I will do it because I think it's right. And if people don't want to believe in me, that is fine. Because the people who matter do.
Even if it gets them killed. Even if it gets you killed. Even if it was for nothing.
That was an option either way.
It didn't have to be.
This is how it works, isn't it? Building soldiers, making sure we fight until we die. Isn't that what we've been doing this whole time?
I told you that's what I wanted to change.
And it's not changing. It's not going to change in my lifetime. It's not going to change in your lifetime. It's not going to change in Jester's or Lucas's or Aiden's or Artie's.
But
So
that's looking ahead, isn't it? That's what you said you were doing.
that's right. Because the way I want to change it, I can make changes now.
Not if this decision gets you all killed.
And that's something I'll have to live with. And I'll go down as someone who made a terrible, terrible mistake. Terrible mistake. Something that I can't make up for. And I'm aware of that too. But I'll do it all over again for them. Every time. I'm sorry, Charles.
I need you to convince me. And I know Why am I important enough to convince? Because if you can't convince me, someone who wants to believe in you, you're not going to convince anyone else. Your dream will die with you.
It's not why I need to convince you, Charles. I need to convince you because you were here. And that's what matters to me.
I made a promise to Aiden, a promise I intend to keep, regardless of what you did, regardless of what happened. I hope that by the time that promise is fulfilled, you somehow manage to convince me. Because if you do, I will stand atop those gates, and I will fight back anyone who comes to beat them down, be they nation or no. But if you don't, they will have me lead the charge. And I will have to. You understand that?
I understand. And I know I shouldn't be asking you for anything right now. But while you're here, while I try to convince you, will you at least try to live?
Believe it or not, I've already started.
I'm sorry, Charles. Also, thank you for everything.
I'm sorry too, Aspen. This is not an easy thing that you are doing, and I'm not sure that if I wasn't, or if I was in your place, I wouldn't have done the same thing, but that's what makes us different. And we need differences.
I agree.
I will be around. I cannot say I will call you leader. I cannot say I will answer to your orders, but I will not be in your way either.
How about one order? We get a drink. We go out.
If you're going to suggest that disgusting biker bar,
Absolutely not. Mm-mm. No, it's not my style. We'll go somewhere. You pick. I'll pay.
very well. With that, you head off. A temporary accord reached between the two of you. How long it will last, how long the peace will hold, to be determined. But obviously, Charles believes there's something worth salvaging that Aspen needs to convince him. In our final scene, we transition to the Memorial Gardens late at night. It is dark. The lights that usually illuminate the exterior wall and along the lane inside of the gardens are dim, dimmer than usual. But that's the way they've been ever since the event. Everything has been dimmer since the event. It's a harrowing sight, to be sure. Nothing moves. Birds don't fly overhead, squirrels don't run across the grounds. It's lifeless. But as we watch, we look along the edge of the wall. And along one of the brick wallways, we see a pair of beady red eyes appear on the edge of the wall. A little sniffing nose and whiskers. It peers around, and then another set on another side pop up. And then all along the wall surrounding, little red eyes, little pink nose, whiskers. They sniff towards the center, but don't decide to break the edge of the wall. And then at the far end, near the gate, atop the archway that goes over the gates themselves, one large rat emerges atop the archway. It sits up on its hind legs, sniffs, then lets out a loud screech, and all of the eyes disappear as they jump off the edge of the wall and go scurrying. And that's where our story ends this evening. Thank you so much to these incredible players. Thank you to everybody who watched tonight's episode. Rage Across Tampa will be back again next week on Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, right here. Have a happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate it, because I know I'm thankful for this game and these players, and we are thankful to you for watching. If you like the World of Darkness, come join our wonderful community with the Discord link down below. We would love to have you with us. And go follow us on all our social media. We are posting content all the time on all those various places. We've also joined that butterfly app, Blue Sky, so you can go follow us there. Just search for St. Pete by Night and go give us a follow, because we'd love to follow you back. So we'll see you there. But join us next week. Thank you so much, and have a lovely evening. Good night, everybody.